If you're not grilling chicken drumsticks, you are missing out. They're budget-friendly, forgiving, and kid and family approved. Hey, what's up? Sal here from SJ Cooks. Now, even though chicken drumsticks are pretty foolproof, a ton of beginners still make the same mistakes over and over again. And in this video, I'm gonna be discussing the top 5 grilling mistakes, and more importantly, how to avoid them. Avoiding these mistakes, it's gonna level up your grilling game with juicy, flavorful, awesome-looking chicken drumsticks. Let's get right into it. First things first, we're gonna whip up a super tasty CHERMOULA. Think of CHERMOULA as chimichurri's cool cousin. It's got some really strong spices and it's very herby, but honestly, it's a really nice change if you're tired of the same old chimichurri. In a bowl, I got a cup of freshly chopped parsley and a cup of cilantro. Remember, all the ingredients are listed in the description. I'm adding in minced garlic, ground cumin, ground coriander, red pepper flakes, paprika, ground ginger, kosher salt, and the juice and zest of half a lemon. Now for these chicken drumsticks, you can certainly take your favorite pre-made rub, sprinkle it on, throw it on the grill, and then drench it in barbecue sauce. And I guarantee nobody's gonna complain about that. But if you want something a little bit different, then be sure you give this marinade a try. Now drizzle in some extra virgin olive oil until you get a nice, slightly loose consistency. Give it a nice taste, and adjust the salt if you need to. Boom, our sauce is done. Next up, the chicken drumsticks. I'm gonna be doing 2 cuts on each side for every drumstick. Not super deep cuts, but enough to open the meat a bit. Now are your drumsticks flavorless and a little bit dry? Then do these 2 cuts. The thick chunk of the meat near the bone can stay raw or bland if you don't open it up a bit. These cuts help your drumsticks cook a lot faster, and it's gonna ensure there's no raw meat near the bone. Plus, it lets in all that delicious marinade or rub. It's gonna get deep into the meat instead of just sitting on the surface. Before placing in the marinade, I like to add just a little bit of salt and pepper. Of course, if your CHERMOULA is already salty enough, you could skip this step. Now, let's coat these drumsticks with the CHERMOULA. Now, you'll also want to reserve about 2 tablespoons of this CHERMOULA because we're going to add this at the very end of the cook. I'm rubbing in it very well, flipping the drumsticks, and applying another layer on top. Make sure to get that marinade all into those cuts we just made. If your drumsticks are flavorless, then you gotta marinate longer. If you slap your seasoning on your chicken and throw it straight onto the grill, it's gonna taste pretty one note. Marinate it for at least 2 hours, but overnight is where all the magic happens. But hey, if you're just using dry rubs, let them sit in the meat for a few hours. This way they actually penetrate instead of falling off on the grill. Now I'm gonna go ahead and cover with plastic, and I'm gonna put these in the refrigerator for them to marinate overnight. Next day, it's grilling time. I got about a 3/4 chimney full of charcoal and a good layer of unlit charcoal on these 2 fire baskets. Once the charcoal is lit, I'm gonna go ahead and pour it over the 2 baskets for a roasting temperature at around 325-350 degrees Fahrenheit. Then I'm gonna split up the charcoal baskets, 1 on each side of the grill, and I'm gonna leave the middle as my indirect zone. I'm gonna put a piece of aluminum foil right in the middle. This is gonna make a cleanup a lot easier because it's gonna collect all the drippings. Now the next mistake is putting your chicken on dirty or unoiled grates. So make sure your grates are very clean and give them a quick oiling before the chicken goes on. I'm gonna lay my drumsticks onto the indirect zone of the grill, which is right in the middle. Now the next mistake I wanna talk about is rubbery skin. The reason you're getting rubbery skin is because you're cooking at low temperatures. Low temperatures results in soggy, rubbery skin. Well, you're gonna avoid this very, very simply, and that's to use high heat. Cooking indirectly at 325 degrees and over, it's gonna let that fat under that skin render properly. This way, the skin crisps up instead of steam. Now the other advantage to indirect cooking, it's gonna avoid burning the outside and keeping the inside raw. And nobody wants that either. Not only does it not look good, but it's also unsafe. I'm gonna go ahead and close the lid and check on these in about 30 minutes. The vent side, as you can see, is right in the middle. About 20 minutes later, or when the chicken hits about 120 degrees, wow, these smell good, I'll wanna go in there and flip. This will get much more even cooking, and it'll help crisp up both sides evenly. And once the chicken hits an internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit, we're ready for the last step. You know what I'm missing? I'm missing a little char. So let's move these drumsticks directly over the fire for a little bit of char. This is going to build us some color and a little bit of texture on the outside. And remember, dark meat is best finished higher than 165 degrees Fahrenheit. So if I start charring at 165, It's going to take the drumsticks up to around 175 to 185 degrees Fahrenheit. That higher temperature gives dark meat more time for the intermuscular fat to render. And believe it or not, it's actually going to make it juicier and much more tender. Now, dark meat is totally different from chicken breast, which is going to dry out if you cook it past 155 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, the next mistake is overcharring or undercharring your drumsticks. I always like cooking indirectly, and at the very end, I like to char the skin till it's absolutely perfect. This is why I like to cook indirectly. This way, I can move the drumsticks over to the hot side and get that char perfectly right. Now, once you get a nice char on these, I'm gonna pull them off and put them in the bowl. Now, while they're still hot, I'm tossing them with the reserved CHERMOULA from the day before. This is gonna add a pop of fresh herb flavor and just a little bit of brightness. We're gonna take these chicken drumsticks over the top. All right, let's taste one. They're tender, they're juicy, and packed with flavor. That charred skin you only get on a charcoal grill, it's absolutely delicious. And guess what? No rubbery skin in sight. Now, I hope this video was useful to you, and if so, drop me a comment down below and let me know what you think. I'll see you on the next one.